Good morning, I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business, and I have a lot to cover, so I think I'm going to get straight to it. It is approaching quickly holiday season, and we're all looking for gifts for loved ones and for friends and families. And I tell you, I'm a big fan of giving books. I usually give loved ones in my life a book is kind of a part of that among the gifts that I give. And I'm going to talk about a book today brought to our attention by our friends at Outskirts Press. That's outskirtspress.com. It's called Prince Manx, that's Manx, M-A-N-X, and his Army of Cats. We have the author, Kenneth R. Taylor Sr., on the program today. And Kenneth, welcome to the program. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to writing this book.
Well, I got the idea of writing that book over 20 years ago when my first wife had a college class in English, and the professor asked the class to go out in the country and pick something out of nature and write about it in one page and turn in next week. So my first wife and my two sons, who the book is dedicated to, went out in the country, and we were driving along the road, and we seen a bunch of cattails. So I decided to write a little page, one page about cattails, and I gave it to my wife, and she turned it into her class and got credit for it. Mm-hmm. And that's how the book got started.
Got it. By the way, this is Ken's first book, but he has really great writing credentials, and he's been devoting several years of his life to writing. He holds a degree in technical writing from Metropolitan State University in Denver, Colorado. That's a cool campus, by the way. I've been there several times over the years, and graduated from Palmer's Writers School in Minneapolis, and glad that you've taken all that experience into this book. It's interesting, though, that your first book is a children's book. Talk about that.
Well, I had two children at the time. They were little, and I always wanted to write a children's book. So I decided after I got laid off from Frontier Airlines, I decided to start working on it and get serious. So I completed it.
Okay. Well, I think that's great. Do you have any other genre of books or types of books in mind in the future?
I'm working on some poetry because I had worked and done a lot of poetry over the years, so I'm trying to put those together now.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Now, talk a little bit about this particular story and what inspired you about it.
Well, this story actually takes place in Mongolia. There's a Princess Suli, who has a son who has 100 cats, and he trains a cat. And they were fighting the Chinese, trying to take over her castle. So one day, the Prince Matt had an idea about lining all the cats up and sticking their tails up. From the distance, they looked like a bunch of cannons, so it's kind of scared the Chinese off. And during that time, the cats got very tired of having their tail up so long, so a good fairy came along and rescued it and helped it out. So that's where it started.
Interesting. And is there an origin to this story, or is this entirely created by you?
No, I actually created the story, but Manx cats are very well known on the Isle of Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just a fascinating story. And I'm sure it. You had your children. You tested it on your children. What was the response with them?
Well, they like it, but I never did get it done when they were little. They're grown up now, but
yeah, but I bet they can still look at it through the eyes of children, right?
Yes. My grandchildren loves it.
Yeah, Marie Sendek's book, Where the Wild Things Are, I have that book memorized because I read it to my kids so many times growing up, and every time I read it through the eyes of a kid, and it's amazing how extraordinary that story is even today. If I happen to be at a bookstore and in the children's section because I'm with my grandson or my goddaughter, if I see that book floating around, I'm grabbing that book and I'm looking at it. It's just the memories, the eyes of a child. Hopefully we never lose those.
Yes. There's another story out that that said How the Manx Cat Lost Its Tail by Janet Stephen. And according to her book, the cat lost his tail during Noah's Ark when it was late trying to get in, and Noah shut the door and it got his tail caught in and lost his tail. But my stories give the better explanation of how it actually lost its tail, because they can never grow tails again after in my story.
Got it. Interesting. Well, that's an interesting take on that. And I also see that you actually had military experience. How did that influence you to become a writer, or did it have much impact on that?
Well, I traveled to a lot of different places, so I think children all over the world love this story, especially in England and around China and everything. Yeah.
That's all of those experiences, they draw us into who we are today, and so I think that's amazing, and I think it's excellent that you're doing that, and I think that the timing is perfect. I mean, it came out at the end of the summer, but here we are as we approach the holidays. I hope you do really well during the holiday season, because I think everyone should get in the habit of providing loved ones a book, under the tree.
Yeah, this book doesn't end in Mongolia. They take a trip all the way across Asia with all his cats, and they go all the way across Asia to the Baltic Sea, and they catch a ship, and they end up in the Isle of Man, all these cats. So and that's how they end up in the Isle of Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is, by the way, this is an actual chapter book, right? It's not just an illustrated book; it's a chapter book.
It's an illustrated book, got pictures in it, but it has several chapters, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Well, I appreciate your time, and want people to check it out. I'm assuming you can get it at Amazon. In fact, I know you can. Make sure you check it out at Amazon.
And Barnes & Noble.
And Barnes & Noble. And simply put in Prince Manx, that's M-A-N-X, and his army of cats.
Just type that in, and it'll come right up.
It'll pop right up.
Or you can order at the order desk at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, and if you go to Outskirts Press, go ahead and put in Prince Manx, and it will come up. You can get more information there. And Kenneth Taylor, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
When we come back, much more for you right here on The Price of Business.